All right, so let me get started. Today I'm going to start this presentation a little bit different than usual, and I'm going to use a couple of tricks and tips that I got from previous speakers in this conference. So, spoiler alert, Node.js, React Native, MongoDB. You see none of that in my talk. There will be Ruby and Raspberry Pi, a little bit of Rails, and another language that I managed to hide a little bit. And I think you might not find that, whatever the language is. So for those of you who doesn't know me, I'm Helio Cola. I've been doing software development for about 17 years, so I'm kind of getting old. I've been doing Ruby on Rails for about 6-7 years. My daily job is Ruby on Rails stuff, and after I get back home and I get done with wife and kids, I go poke around Raspberry Pis. So I've been, this talk is, I already gave a talk about Raspberry Pi in our conference. I ran a workshop in RailsConf last year about Raspberry Pis, and so this talk is a compilation of all of that, plus one project that I recently did, and also some more inspiration that I got recently about what I'm going to do next with Raspberry Pis. So a little bit of the agenda of this talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about what is available for you guys to play with. Buy, install, setup, what you need to do to get that, a little bit of development environment, and some sensors, gadgets, and at the end I'm going to put my the two projects that I run. This entire talk is based on my experience in building 2 projects with Raspberry Pis over the last year and a half. So what is available? So let me ask you a question real quick here. Who knows what a Raspberry Pi is? Okay, cool. How many of you guys ever did something with a Raspberry Pi? Okay, cool. I was expecting less than that. These are the 2, so Raspberry Pi, for those of you who doesn't know, it's a microcomputer. They have a credit card size computer, and they have it's a microcomputer the size of your credit card, and they have a version that is like half of your credit card. So it's really, really small. Parallella is another one. It's very similar. There's a little bit differences, but they both run Linux. You can install Linux in a couple of OSs. These are the 2 ones that I only considered. There is a couple other stuff like sticker PCs, some sticks, and some other Intel-based small computers that doesn't run Linux, so I never poke around that. As far as Raspberry Pi goes, these are the models that we have: the Pi 0, 1A+, 2 Model B, 3 Model B, and recently they released the Pi 0 wireless, which is kind of it's the smallest one, but now they have wireless access. So, and these are the pictures, just to give you an idea. The Pi 0, A+, Pi 2B, and 3B. The one from these pictures, the ones I've used was the Pi 3B. Was my first project. It's the easiest one for you to start with because they have USB connectors directly, and you can plug your monitor in your monitor, keyboard, and mouse in the Pi Zeros. And to give you an idea, these are Pi 0 versus a quarter, a US quarter. So it's really, really small. That's probably the half of the size of a credit card, roughly. So a little bit of the difference between the Pis. So there's a lot of stuff in here, but basically what it matters to us is like CPUs and RAM. And here we have, so the Pi 0 has Wi-Fi 802.11. In Pi 0, they have a 1 GB single core. The Pi 3 has a quad core, Pi 2 as well. And this is a pretty good one. So with a Pi 3, you can feel like you can run your Rails app in there. On Pi 0, a couple of days ago, installed. I realized that the Ruby version on one of my demos, one of the demos that I'm going to show you guys here today runs a Pi 0, and I realized that it was still running the Ruby version of the installation, which is of 2014. I think Ruby 2.2 something. And I was like, oh, I'm going to install Ruby 2.5 in here and see how it goes. And it's one of these, the Pi-Zero 1 gigahertz single core CPU. And using RVM to install Ruby 2.5, I don't know, it took about half an hour. So, but it compiled successfully. Went smoothly. It didn't have a single problem. So, a little bit of some more differences between the Pis. The Pi-Zero is $5. The Zero the wireless $10. The Raspberry Pi 3 is $39. Usually, you don't buy only the Raspberry Pis. You need to buy a micro SD, a couple cables, and some other stuff. So, depending on what you do, you're going to spend, I don't know, $30 to $70 to start poking around these things. Parallel is another board. That's a website. They have 3 modules. They have a microserver, a desktop model, and an embedded model. And the main difference between Parallelas and Raspberry Pis are the CPU and the price. These freaking small laptops have 18 freaking cores. And it's like unbelievable. I'm dying to get to a point where, all right, I'm done with Raspberry Pis. I'm going to poke around these guys and see what I'm going to do. If these cores has more than 1 gigabyte of RAM, I would have replaced my Mac for that. But with 1 gigabyte, it can become my laptop. So, but anyway, I never poke around with that. One of the projects that I've been working for a couple of years, they have some small local servers in the company. And maybe I'm going to see if I can run my client software in one of these machines, because it's Ruby-based as well, and it runs local like a Raspberry Pi, a bunch of Ruby stuff, not Rails. And it may run well on these machines. So, buy, install, setup. So where to buy? These are a couple of places that I bought this stuff from: P. Moroni, Element 14, Adafruit, Amazon, and Micro Center. Whatever you buy, Google, or you Google and find something. What to buy? What to buy depends on what you're going to do. The first thing that I bought was a Pi 3 starter kit, which comes a board, case, power supply, heatsink, and a micro SD. And after I was done with my, after I did that, I was, okay, I know Raspberry Pi 3, now I'm going to poke around the Raspberry Pi 0. In the Pi 0, I didn't end up buying a kit because I have a bunch of that stuff. I just bought the board. And then bought some other stuff at the Micro Center local where I live. There's some extra stuff that are cool. Cameras, sensors. There is a 7-inch touchscreen display. And that's kind of interesting. You kind of make a tablet size, but you still need power. And so it's cool, but I never found it useful. And there is the thing called Blint, which is part of my demo that I'm going to do here today. So this is a picture of a Pi 3 starter kit. That's pretty much what looks like the Pi 3 starter kit that I bought, the first one that I bought. This is a Pi 0 kit. There is a little bit more cable that you need. That's why if you're going to start, tie the Raspberry Pi 3, because you need less cables to get set up and less USB dongles and all that kind of stuff. This is a box of sensors. That's the one that I bought, the first one that I bought along with the Raspberry Pi 3. And I'm going to show a little bit more of those during this presentation. This is the 7-inch touchscreen display that I mentioned. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $70-something or something. I don't remember exactly, but I have it here with me if you guys want to check it out. This is a camera, Raspberry Pi camera. That is also going to be in my demo today. The cable, the white cable that I have is a little bit different. This is the Raspberry Pi 3 camera cable, and the Raspberry Pi 0 camera cable is a little bit different, but it's just another cable. This is the Blink. It's just a bunch of lights that flash. So, so you buy this stuff, and what do? Let's install. So to install, you're going to pick up OS, mostly Linux. There is a bunch of references in there. Windows does have an IoT version. I never poke around with that. I wanted to do that once, but never get tired of Linux and the other stuff, so never really done anything on Windows. But the OS that I've been using most of the time is Ubuntu Mate and Raspbian. I think those are the easiest to install and the most easy to get. So those are the OS that you can find. There's even Windows IoT 10 core in there. Never, like I said, never actually tried that. And this installation setup is kind of follow a little bit of this process. You download the image, you want to archive, you insert in the SSD drive in your Mac, and then you run some of these stuff. DD list, disk-reutils, DD, and this kind of stuff. And then you get the OS installed in your micro SD. And then once that's done, you're going to put that in a Raspberry Pi, power up, and the first boot's going to take a little longer, and then you're going to like, oh my gosh, not working, and then it does, or it doesn't, and then you try again, and you follow the steps, and at the end of the day, and then you configure network and do a couple more stuff. Just follow the steps, and it's kind of easy. But it is probably not like installing Cassandra, Elasticsearch. It's a little bit different. It's just a black screen. It's not going to be as colorful and as colorful as Cassandra, Elasticsearch, and all the other stuff. But after you power up, you plug in your TV, and if you have like a 72-inch TV at home, that's what it looks like. That's a Raspberry Pi 3 with Ubuntu Mate on my TV, and there is a keyboard and a mouse over there. This is what it looks like in the 7 inches display. That's the 7-inch touchscreen display, and that black thing over there is a motion sensor, infrared motion sensor. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that if I have time. So my development environment, Ubuntu Mate has my OS. As I mentioned, that's the Ruby that comes with the installation out of 2014. I 2 days ago installed IVM and Ruby 2.5. I use VI, but most of the time I'm SSH into these machines. I don't use on the monitor very often. So either I'm on a Mac doing stuff, push on GitHub, and then I SSH, git pull, and run and test this stuff. Usually, those are the 2 things that I usually do. Firefox, I used that a few times on Raspberry Pi 3, but Raspberry Pi 0, I never even plugged to monitors, like just only SSH stuff. Monitor on a TV and keyboard and a mouse, and those things you're going to use from time to time. If you're using Raspberry Pi 3, like I said, on Raspberry Pi 0, I never actually used keyboard and mouse, very rarely. So these slides duplicated, but that's the 7-inch display. And this is that 7-inch display that you can actually attach a mouse and in a keyboard. And you make a tablet with a small laptop or a small tablet that you put a keyboard in it. So they also have like a soft keyboard inside of it that you can install, and then you touch it. Not very useful. All right, so let's get going. So sensors. So this is an infrared motion sensor. And I'm just going to go through these because there's a lot of stuff just so you guys get a sense of what these things that I keep poking around from time to time. These are smoke and combustive gas. What do you guys think this is? Speaker. Yeah, it's a buzzer. Carbon monoxide sensor. How about this one? Yeah, the digital touch. These are flame. I never use a lot of those, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'm gonna. I don't know. Maybe after the kids grow up. These are vibration one. These temperature and humidity. This is sound. That seems an interesting one, especially for one of my demos. What do you guys think this is? What? Water. Yeah, water. It's a water level. Never poke around that. I'm really curious. I don't know why. All right, so let's get into the applications that I built, my demos, and the things that I've done with this Raspberry Pi. A motion sensor app. This was my Hello World in Raspberry Pi 3. The idea is that I want to detect a movement and then do something. I'm going to call an API. I'm going to sound an alarm. I'm going to turn off the lights and play music. I'm going to turn on the camera, take a picture. I'm going to do something. I want to do something when I detect a movement somewhere around my house. And the idea that I have as far as my house goes is like that. I will have a Pi 0 in a front door, back door in a game room, and I can have either a PI3 or a Rails app in a PI3, either maybe local on my house, right, on my Wi-Fi, and or I can put this on AWS. So my Pi Zeros can either talk to a server local to my house in my house network, or I can talk to the internet if I give external access to it. What I use for these, I use the Raspberry Pi 3 starter kit, camera, a PIR Motion Sensor, which is like infrared motion sensor, and the 7-inch touchscreen. But that's optional, you don't need that. So I built this Rails app, and it's very simple. I start with a very basic data model. Users, locations, maybe I have more than one house, maybe I want to monitor my house and my neighbor's house. And a couple of sensors. Sensor has events. Events have data. I don't know, picture, logs, or whatever. A bunch of stuff. Very basic. Just for me to get a place where I can throw my events from my Raspberry Pis and then have a UI, deploy that to Heroku, and then I can see from my phone what's going on. And that's I use ActiveAdmin for that. It's very, very simple. It's just CRUD, and I build an API to allow the Pis to send the events. And that's test event, 1, 2, 3 from my front door event. And yeah, so I built that. And let me talk a little bit about the motion sensor, infrared motion sensor. So you don't need to remember a lot of stuff from this slide. If there is one thing here that we need to remember is that red dragon. Everything else you can ignore. But this is a very interesting sensor. They have like 2 areas. And basically what it does is when the dragon or you are going to the sensor, there is an area where it detects your presence and then generates a high pulse or a low pulse when you're leaving the sensor. And that's actually what you see in your code. So when you build a code to read that sensor, you're going to say, hey, when this specific button here, this specific GPIO go high, that means that something, either you or a dragon, it's passing through that sensor area. And then when it gets low, and then that person, that object is leaving your sensor area. So when you look at the code, that's what it looks like. It's very simple. And basically, this is the whole magic. If the pin 14 goes high, then I detect something here. Something is being detected in front of your sensor. And then you do your stuff. All right, I detected something. So now what I'm going to do, there is a little bit of logic in here to make sure that I don't fire a bunch of events multiple times. If the sensor keeps going up and down for the same event, for the same person in there, I just put in here, but that's just little detail. You don't need that. And then what I do, I put somewhere else. I just send to my Rails app and say, hey, what's going on? Something got in here. I don't know what it is. I can take a picture, or I can do something else. But for this demo, I was only reporting the event. Something got past my sensor. And there is this gem called PiPiper that gives you this after pin and this Piper weight that kind of allows you. So basically what this code does is read that motion sensor. Read the dragon going through your sensor. That's what it does. And it's pretty simple. In here, there's only Ruby. No other language. He done it, as far as I know. So again, that's the same picture. That's how I set up. Behind this touch screen, there is a Raspberry Pi 3 attached to it, and the motion sensor attached to the Raspberry Pi 3. This is the motion sensor. This black tape over here is because when you're testing local in your house, like everything is there with you. So if you don't put that, like it's never going to see. It's always going to see someone in front of the sensor. So that black tape helps to do that. And then I put my hands in front of the open area of these stuff and of the black tape, and it detects the presence. That's just a little trick for testing, make it easier. And I left this stuff running on my house for 2 months. I was traveling, me and the whole family traveling, and I have a friend that was coming by regularly to check the house, right? So we were gone for so long, and he just walk through the sensor, and that's it. It ran on my house for 2 months. That exact same code run, and it was posting stuff to Heroku, and then from another side of the globe, I knew what was going on in my house. I mean, not what was going on, just that someone was going there. But anyway, it was interesting. So that was one of my first project. The second one that is going to demo here today is a time-lapse camera. What that is something that takes pictures periodically and it blinks lights. So it's very simple, very simple. This actually that's the URL where you can find this project and all this stuff. How many of you guys here, no, I'm not going to ask that question. So it's possible that a lot of you guys will not like what you see in that URL, but that's where I got my inspiration for this demo. And so what I use for this demo, Raspberry Pi 0 wireless, a GPIO hammerhead is just to connect. I don't want to use solder iron to solder stuff and this stuff. I'm not good at that. And I found this hammerhead that you can just hammer down your Raspberry Pi 0. So it's kind of fun. A blink, that's optional as well, but I have that as well. A camera, a reused cardboard in a sunglass. So you're going to need that. And you need a 5 volts power pack. And let me see, what is the next slide? So that's what it looks like, all of this stuff. You can see here my very old sunglass, the power pack that I got for free in a RailsConf, some cardboard stuff. Here is the camera with the Raspberry Pi 0 cable. And here is the Raspberry Pi 0 plus the blink. This white stuff here, this is the blink. And it's just blinks lights. That's what it does. This is all assembled. So you can see the power pack, my glass, the camera, cardboard, and here the blinks. The code for these is extremely simple. I mean, it only takes pictures, right? And blinks lights. So there's not a lot of stuff to do. That's the code. That's the entire code. 18 lines and one comment and a bunch of stuff. So basically, it's a forever loop that what it does is use these RaspSteel tool that comes with your Raspberry Pi to take the picture or video and then blink the lights. That's pretty much it, what it does. I used to have a sleep something here, but these blinking lights here, these lights takes like 5 or 6 or 7 seconds. So I don't need the sleep 5, that's enough. What else? And that is now demo time. So you can see there are 2 GIFs that I created on using this thing. And so let's demo these now. Oh, this is not going to fit in here. That's the wrong adapter. So all right, hold on. Let's see if it's going to work. All right, this is it. So as you guys can see here, it's exactly what we're seeing there. Sunglass, the blinked. Inside the box, there is a Raspberry 0. And over here is my power pack. And basically, my demo is I'm going to press this power pack, power up this, and it should work. So let's see what's going to happen. All right, so it's powering up. So it may take a couple seconds. Let me check one thing here. Let me put it. So as soon as it starts up, it's going to start blinking. So if this stuff blinks, let me know. That means it's working. So I have a couple stuff in here. So my laptop's connected to a router that's over there. And this guy, when it connects, is wireless, so it should connect to the same router. And I should be able to see here if that is really up and running. Is the lights on? Yeah. Okay, so far I want to my laptop. All right, there you go. So the light should be on. The lights on. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what's going on. So that's this Raspberry Pi that's running inside here. All right, there you go. So it's now this thing is taking pictures and blinking lights. That's pretty much it. So let me see here where the code is. T-Lapse. So that's the code that I showed you guys. T-Lapse RB is exactly what I showed. It's a forever loop. Run this guy and run the lights and take pictures. And here is where the pictures are. Yeah, so everything for now. So, and if you really have the courage to walk down and to use these, that's what it looks like. If you use it, so that's how you use it, right? So, and so now let's do this thing. So, do I look good in this stuff? So, all right. I'm going to tweet later one of these pictures. So everybody stand still in there and say hi. And if you guys see here in the camera, there is a light. That when the light is red, that means that you guys need to prepare for the picture. All right? And then after it takes the picture, then these lights blinks, just to say the picture is done. So, all right. So I can't see what's going on in there right now. So, but if you see the red light, just stay still. All right, cool. All right, so it sounds like we got another picture in here. And so let's see what these pictures look like. Oh, it's not 21, 28. Today is, what day is today? Oh, on my Raspberry Pi, for whatever reason, it's still January 28. So. Wow, I can see the, now I was going to make a joke that if you want to SSH to the Raspberry Pi, you just need to connect to the router that's there and SSH, but don't run any exception, Ruby exception, because I can hear that over here. And it actually is the first time I'm hearing the CPU kind of running, so. It's buzzing over here. Come on. All right, that's what these pictures look like. The first one's taken from here, and some of them 0 bytes. Let's see if we have any good one over here. All right. I probably need to stay still. Okay, this kind of broke down in the middle. And, or maybe it's still downloading, I don't know. But, all right, that's, let me bring back to my presentation here. Let's see what else I have to tell you guys. So these two, oh, there's one thing that I did here that's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. So this stuff keeps taking picture forever, right? And I don't really have a lot of space on these. These are 8 gigabytes SD, and I still have like 1.3 available. So I did a little thing in that script in here that I do touch, no photo, and it stops. So it's not going to take more pictures anymore, so I can leave it running and not blow up the, oh, I just powered off. All right, and not blow up the disk. So let me see if I have anything else over here to tell you guys. But so these two GIFs in here, I did it when I reassembled these after I came back. So imagine that fly with these stuff, go to security in the US and here and back. It's kind of a little bit of an adventure, right? So I disassemble everything and reassemble back. And this is my Airbnb after I arrived, reassembling and putting back together for the demo. So these are a bunch of references that I use from my talk. And that's what I have for you guys. So thank you. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.